What's up, everybody? Okay, so boom. We have ser and estar, right? These are two words in Spanish that mean to be. Um, Now, the difference between ser and estar is it's situational. So you cannot just use them interchangeably. Now, in English, we only have one word for to be. You say, like, oh, I am, he is, she is, they are, that type of thing. But in Spanish, depending on the situation, you're going to use ser and you're going to use estar. So, first of all, I think it's important for us to know when to use it, right? So, I'm just going to make a little table, right? We have our pronoun, um, we know when we want to use estar, and we know when we want to use ser, right? So that being said, we're going to use the personal pronouns. Yo, oops. Yo, tú, él, ella, usted, oops. Nosotros. I'm going to extend this a little bit. Nosotros. Now, I've talked about this before, and this is also nosotras, I should actually say. So nosotras, right? I'm not sure if I've ever covered this, but basically, let's say you're a woman, and you're saying like we, and you're describing a group of women. So you're gonna say we women, that would be nosotras. Now vosotros, as I've talked about before, I believe, is used in Spain more. I mean, they use it in some Latin American countries, but mostly it's known for its use in Spain. And you also have vosotras, so that's plural. So the equivalent in English might be like y'all. So vosotros, you all, vosotras, you all women. So like, if you're describing a group that only has women in it, you would use vosotras. Ellos, ellas, ustedes. Excuse my handwriting. So now, for the estar, you're going to use estoy. Let me do this. Just to make things a little bit neater. For estar, you're going to use estoy. So you would say yo estoy, I am, right? For tú, you would use estás. And one thing I want you to note with these, you're going to put a little accent above the estás. It's just for pronunciation's effort. I mean, a lot of times you can't really tell the difference, but it's estás, right? Él, ella, usted está. Nosotros estamos. Vosotros estáis. And then there's that little accent again. Ustedes están, right? For ser, it's going to be soy, yo soy, tú eres, él es, nosotras somos, vosotros, what is it? Sois, y ellos son. So so like this is what you're gonna use. If you can, like you have to. I mean, this is just something you have to know, right? These are just the rules, the set rules, and when we're using estar and ser, right? But when do we use these? Now, the way I like to think about it, I use estar more. So one way you're gonna hear it talked about is like temporary situations. So estar is gonna be the less temporary. I mean, the more temporary situation, while ser is the more permanent situation. So I would use ser maybe to describe something that I know it might not change for the time being. So like if I want to say like her daughter is tall, su hija es alta, right? Alta or alto meaning tall, right? But because it's used to describe something feminine, you would use the word alta, right? But if I wanted to say I am here, estoy aquí, right? So that's one thing I really want to emphasize. You're gonna use ser when you're talking about like a characteristic, right? If you're gonna talk about somebody's height, somebody's size, you want to talk about like color. You want to talk about like nationality, right? Soy de los Estados Unidos, right? I'm from the United States. Let me see. What else? Estar is going to be used again, maybe like with situations like locations. Estar. How are you? So you're gonna hear people say like "Cómo estás," right? That's gonna be more of a situation. How are you like right now? You know, if you want to ask like how is that person like maybe like, oh, describe that person. How are they? Cómo es, right? But by far, I think you're gonna hear "Cómo estás" a lot more. If so, we have this thing called the present continuous tense, which I'm gonna make a video on. ¿Qué estás haciendo? What are you doing? Right. So the same way we have in English, what are you doing? With this thing called the gerund, right? We have that in Spanish as well. So if I want to say I am doing something, I would say estoy. Then I would add the ing equivalent in Spanish. You would also use it to talk about, let me see. I already said locations. So yeah, the more you use it, I feel like the more you'll get a feel of it. But I'm just going to give you some examples. So like I said, her daughter is tall. Right? So I would say, su hija es alta. Now here, again, I'm using that es because I'm using is, right? But that's more of a permanent quality. Her daughter might not be so tall. Her daughter might not like change height tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So that's when you're gonna use that. If I want to say, I am from the United States. Soy de los Estados Unidos. Right? I am from the United States, right? Let me see. What else? Okay, like sorry. I actually wrote that. I didn't use the right color and the right format. I am from the United States, right? You know? And I'm sorry, this should actually be capitalized. Los Estados Unidos. Just because it's a proper noun, of course. Let's see. Now, when can we use estar? I am in the building, right? So I want to say I am in the building. Estoy en el edificio. Now, the reason I'm not using yo estoy, yo soy, is because like in Spanish you're not always going to use those. Maybe at times you use it, maybe for emphasis, or maybe you just feel like using it. But the vast majority of the time, I notice that Spanish speakers do not use the pronouns. That's why Spanish is referred to as a pronoun drop language. So just get in the habit of not using yo, nosotros, vosotras, that type of thing. It comes natural, you know. Let me see one more. Let me see. Oh, how are you? ¿Cómo estás? How are you? And the reply to this would be, let's say you're feeling good. Estoy bien. I am fine. Right. So I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You're gonna have to have practice with it, but it's not too bad, honestly. So just remember that ser is used for more of a permanent situation. You're gonna use this to describe like height, color, material, things like that. Estar is more used to describe maybe more temporary situations, things that can change, people's health, people's location. Yeah. So just get some practice in with those, and let's keep learning. Okay. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't be afraid to ask any questions in the comment section if you have any. Thanks.